Yummy like a gummy bear.
Hey everybody, welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Metroid Prime 4 and how it's out now. Wait, what? It's going to be a good one because we have Jesse Vitelli on the show. Jesse, how are you doing?
Doing great. It's Friday. We're here. I'm ready. I'm usually on the show on Fridays, so it's like I feel right at home. You know,
Yeah.
right? We're good to go.
Yeah, this is the show to have you on for sure. I appreciate you doing the show as
Yeah, of
always. How are things going with you otherwise? You playing anything that you could talk about that you're really into right now? I saw someone on Polygon, Simone, actually talking about I can't remember the name of the game, but it's a claw machine Slay the Spire, and I'm like, that sounds hot to me. That sounds sensual.
I know what I'm gonna be playing now.
Yeah, you know
I've
what? I'll
not
see if I
been
can find
playing
that. It's a dungeon crawler. Not dungeon crawler, dungeon crawler.
I do love a good pun.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna have to go play Dungeon Clawer.
Yeah.
But I mean, otherwise, I've been playing some stuff I can't talk about. I've been playing some stuff that I can talk about. I've been recovering from SGF. Even though it feels like it just happened, it's actually been like a week, more than a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I don't remember.
I can't tell either. Honestly, I was like, is it 2 weeks? It doesn't feel like it's been 2 weeks.
Been playing a lot of Mario Kart World. Obviously, you've been hopping into some of the games that we've been playing.
That was fun.
Beating us, unfortunately. Yep. I've been playing this game called Poxel.io, and let me tell you, that's just one of those Discord activities that you can play with your friends. It's the worst first-person shooter I've ever played in my life, but Nikki, and Michael have been playing it, and like it seems problematic in the way that it may use AI art or something. I don't want to like throw that out there and just spread misinformation. It's literally like the worst thing you've ever seen. It's just absolute garbage. But we play it for like 5 minutes at a time. We get mad at each other and then we stop playing it. I don't know how I got here.
I am always looking at those Discord activities and I'm like, no one else is going to want to do this. So hearing that people are actually in there discovering the filth that lies at the heart of Discord makes me very happy, even if it's only for 5 minutes at a time. Listen, you can only expose yourself to that for so long. What makes it so bad?
It is just like, okay, one, it's like Roblox and Minecraft like mashed together, but in a way that it's just like aping off of them and not like doing anything. It's like very clearly designed as like the lowest common denominator of just a first person shooter. And like the physics are awful, and like everything about it just feels terrible. Like it's got a battle pass and like horrendous monetization within the Discord app itself. Like you could play, I think it's a browser game too, but then there's like games like Crunker Royale, which is just like that but a battle royale. We went down the rabbit hole of just like really bad Discord activity games.
Yeah.
But what I will say is there's one that's very good, and it's called Jam Space Whiteboard, and it is literally just a giant whiteboard that everyone in Discord can just do an activity together where they're drawing and dropping in GIFs and images, and you kind of go into a fugue state, and then after like an hour, you have the most unhinged
modern art
you've ever seen, wall mural, if you will. So that one's really good. But yeah, we've been diving into depths of the Discord filth. And let me tell you, it's bad in there. It's really bad in there.
Jam, let's do a UPF of all these things. Let's do a Discord activities UPF.
You should. Only if you're free to.
Yep.
I'm absolutely free. You let me know. I'll show you through the filth that is the Discord activity section.
Hell yeah, you could be our Sherpa. Fantastic. Let's explain what we do here at Giant Bomb. We're a handful of people that try to make some fun stuff about video games, and you can help us do that by going to giantbomb.com/join. That gets you ad-free episodes of shows like this and the Bombcast. Gets you some other special goodies here and there. We'll be working on some other stuff at all times to kind of make that feel valuable. You can also go to Ko-Fi, ko.fi, it's ko-fi.com/giantbomb if you want to give us some other support. We appreciate everyone who's come out for us, as always, and we're going to be here forever now because of you. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Metroid Prime 4 is out now, or so says the London Underground. We did it, everybody. We survived.
We did it.
Now, it's not out on a Nintendo Switch or anything, but it is out according to a poster in the London Underground. Why can't I say that? This is from Alex Coe at DualShockers. The London Underground. One of the biggest game announcements from Nintendo outside the Switch 2 this year was undoubtedly the Metroid Prime 4 Beyond release, which was confirmed in March of this year that the game was still in development and that it would come out in 2025. Outside of confirming that we'll see the game sometime this year, Nintendo hasn't provided any information about the game's release date beyond that. However, a new ad in London has surfaced stating the game is out, quote, now, with some people thinking that Nintendo might shadow drop the game. An ad was spotted on the London Underground via VGC that says Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is out now. And as you can see, there's an image. It's just a big poster alongside a bunch of other Switch 2 posters. It even mentions the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of the game, which was unveiled during the Switch 2 Direct show during April. As of press time, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond has not been released on Nintendo Switch 2 eShop, which means this ad was plastered prematurely. Is there a chance that Nintendo shadow drops the game? They say today. I doubt it. Possibly, but it doesn't seem likely. Jesse Vitelli, did you see this? What do you think is happening here?
Okay, I did see this, and at first I thought it was a photoshopped ad. I think it's a bad ad if we're just putting it out there. The out now, it feels like it's like tacked on.
Yeah.
That being said, like it feels like a couple of different things. It feels like somebody is really good and plastered up an ad to just stir chaos, but also like marketing plans are tough. Sometimes things get moved around and you miss something and you forget to cancel your London Underground ad for Metroid Prime 4. Do I think it's coming out today? No. I think that would be absurd. Metroid is a franchise that, one, they'd want to promote, but two, I think needs the marketing, especially 4 with how long it's been. It needs that ramp up. They're not going to just plaster some billboards and be like, it's out today. However, hear me out. That would be the funniest possible thing they could do, is just on the Nintendo Today app, be like, Metroid Prime 4 is out today. And then everyone realizes that they have to keep paying attention to this app every single day.
Yeah.
That would be the funniest thing.
They definitely seem like that is their intention with the Nintendo Today app.
Look, I'll say it. You should probably have to see Seaman at some point.
Well, I didn't do that.
I don't know. We need to turn that off so it says it when I come into the room. I just
you turned that on. You're
no
the one
way
who
I did that.
Yeah,
Why would
you
I do
did that.
There's absolutely no way I would do that. Listen, I just want you to make sure you know that VGC got a comment from Nintendo saying that this is not it's not true. It's fake. It's a fake. Goodbye. Sorry about the semen thing.
So my initial point stands. Somebody went up there and did it themselves.
Yeah. I mean, did they say it was like a hoax, or like a fake, or was it just a mistake? I guess I saw that the VGC said it was not true. Let's see if we can get there. Discord has a thing where you could set your the sound notification when you enter a room. He did that himself. What is he saying? He claims he had nothing to do with the semen thing, but it's all him.
You know what? You can't reel in Mike Minotti.
No, you got to just accept him for who he is. All right, update.
Look, I'll say it. You should probably have to see Seaman at some point.
I did not do this myself, Jeff. Come on. Why would I do this? Absolutely not. I don't know who did it. Of course, an admin has power. It has to be him. There's no way that admins would have the power to set these things. Shut up. You have a naughty word on your shirt. I'm calling HR. Oh, never mind. I saw the rest of it. Good shirt.
Yeah, he's against Mike Minotti is against my shirt. That's right, everybody. You heard it here first.
I just saw the fuck part. I didn't see the rest of it. Guys?
Why don't you go eat that 3DO mascot's ass and get out of here?
I just saw the F. I just saw the F.
Oh, he's backpedaling now.
Yeah, there we go. We got him, everybody.
I love that shirt. Let's go, Dodgers. There you go. All right. All right. I like crushed ice. Bye, everybody.
Who was that guy?
I don't know, man. We got to do something about this. We got to lock these doors tighter. An update. A Nintendo spokesperson has told VGC that the advert date is incorrect and Metroid Prime 4 is not out now. Yeah. We can confirm that the out now message on this advert is incorrect. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond and Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Dash Nintendo Switch 2 edition are not yet available and are scheduled for release in 2025. All right. So, I mean, how the mistake happens, was it a hoax, whatever. My guess here is like kind of what you were saying, Jesse. Marketing's hard. There are a lot of moving parts. This game maybe at one point was supposed to be out now, or some people are saying it's a graphic design thing because there's a little kind of hovering box behind the out now. I don't know. To me, that looks like it's part of the design, but whatever. Everyone's theory here is equally valid. I just guess that the simplest solution is this thing was supposed to go up at some point, just got put up too early for whatever reason. So then, Jesse, why the hell isn't this game out now, though? This is a Nintendo Switch 1 game. And obviously it's going to get a Switch 2 update, but like, why isn't it out?
I have been thinking about this for so long because obviously this game was announced almost a decade ago. And obviously it went through reboots and, it switched hands and whatever. But I don't know what they're holding on. Like, I don't know what the secrecy with this thing is. Like, they showed I've played this game. I played it at the Nintendo Switch 2 launch event. It's great. I played 15 minutes of it, but like, what are we holding on to? Like, there must be some direct or something that they're waiting to just let it have its full moment. But like, at this point, it's got to be a late holiday game, right? It's got to be a November, December game. Because they want to have their marketing ramp up. They want to show it in a direct. And then it feels like a game that's ripe for a 15-minute direct similar to Donkey Kong and Mario Kart.
Yes, it does.
So you need time to do that. And so I don't know what they're waiting for to give the release date for it, because I feel like that game only benefits from having a release date and letting people know that it's definitely coming out this year. It's definitely November. It's definitely December. And if I don't hear about it soon, I'm going to stop believing that it's this year. And then I'm also going to be worried because what is so wrong with this product, man?
I mean, I'm of two minds about it. And they're on the extreme ends of the spectrum of either there is something wrong and the studio needed more time. Maybe that's the more likely scenario. Because, I mean, God, what video game released in the last 5 years hasn't had that story?
Correct.
Or Nintendo really believes in it and does want to make it its primary holiday release as like, hey, listen, we have a Mario Kart and we have Donkey Kong, and those games are made for Switch 2, and we do want those to like be the leading foot that we put out for the Switch 2, sure. But as we get to the holiday, we're gonna have Pokemon, and that is going to appeal to a massive audience. But there is another audience we still want to like please around the holidays, and Metroid Prime 4 can do that. And at that point, we can really treat it as a Switch 2 game, even though it's also going to be coming to Switch 1. And there's it's retro. It's Metroid Prime. There is a chance this is a really, really good game, and they want to give it its best chance to just really have the full spotlight on Switch 2. That's definitely copium on my part for sure, a little bit, because in my mind, before the Switch 2 got all its reveal, it's like, hey, right before that happens, they'll probably give us Metroid Prime 4, like a release date in that window between when they announce the Switch 2 and when the Switch 2 comes out, and then it'll get a Switch 2 version. They didn't do that. So, and now I'm like, oh, man, what is going on with this game? And to still just have a 2025 release date at this point, I'm trying not to worry, because what's the point? But this is a game I really want to be good. So we'll see. You're putting your timeline around holiday, because I think I'm there as well. Holiday sounds right to me.
It makes sense to me because Nintendo loves to do, especially they did it on the Switch 1 launch, and I feel like they're doing it now where it's like they kind of have like one big game a month. So it's like Mario Kart launch, Donkey Kong July, I don't know what's August. There's Kirby DLC, but I don't think that counts. Then like Pokemon's October. Kirby Air Riders is supposed to fit into this equation at some point.
Yes,
so
we don't have a day for that as well, right?
Slot that for like maybe a September or December, and then like wherever that slots, you figure you slot Metroid in whatever. Metroid to me feels November, could be December. It feels late holiday, but I don't know. That's just kind of like where I would put it. I don't really think it makes sense elsewhere for the rest of the year. Like, I don't think putting that game out in August makes a ton of sense personally. I think, like you said, they want to give it the best possible chance, and I think propping it up like it's the biggest thing they have this year is its best option for, you know, doing well, especially around the holidays. People are going to try to get more Switch 2s. They want to buy them for their family. They need a game. Pack Metroid, do a bundle or do a whatever with Metroid. Like, I don't know. I think it works. Your bundle game is probably Donkey Kong, but still, I can dream.
Yeah. People in chat are wondering if Kirby Air Riders was labeled for 2025 or 2026.
Oh, did it say 26?
I think they said winter, actually. I think that's
the winter.
I think winter's the one they use when it's like that gives them a little leeway to be either late 2025 or early 2026. So that's where I think that confusion comes from. But maybe not. No, just 2025. No specification on when. One of them did have a winter label, but I can't remember exactly what it was.
That might have been Age of Imprisonment. I think that was the Warriors game was winter.
That sounds right. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, they have a lot of games coming, and you're right. So like November for Metroid does feel like makes sense, and the rest of those can sort of like just spiral around that one in a way that I think will feel nice for people that have the Switch 2. All right, Donkey Kong Bananza Switch 2 demo spotted in the wild while we stick to Nintendo news for the start of the show. This is from Liam Doolin at Nintendo Life. Following a recent story about Switch 2 kiosks popping up in U.S. stores, we've now got a small but exciting update. If the Donkey Kong Bananza Direct left you wanting to play the game right now, apparently a demo of the game has been added to these same kiosks at locations like Walmart and Target in the United States. But you can enjoy 10 whole minutes of its upcoming release. Nintendo hasn't said if it will be making this demo or anything similar available on the Switch 2 eShop, but if we hear any updates, we'll let you know. You have played Donkey Kong Bananza.
I have.
How do you find Donkey Kong Bananza?
I find it's a little overwhelming at first because there's obviously a lot going on there. Right. But I find it delightful. I think it's incredibly fun. It's intuitive. You know, you hit A button to punch down, you know, left button to punch left. Like it all feels like it flows together really well. And after watching the most recent Direct, a lot of what I saw has a lot of context to it. And so like there were like tuning forks everywhere, and I'm like, this makes sense with Pauline being a singer and all this stuff. But it just feels good to play. The environment we got to play with was very tiny. I didn't get to do any of the challenge levels or anything like that. Like it really was like a tight 15-minute just kind of run around and hit stuff, and that feels really good. It feels good to punch things, surfing on the rock, doing a chunk jump.
Chunk jump, pretty good. Go to chunkjump.com, everybody.
Chunkjump.com. It feels great. It really does. Like you want your not open world, but like you want your sort of explore 3D platformer collectathon. Like this is that in spades. And so I'm excited. I feel like it's my Switch 2 launch game. It's the game that I feel like this is the first game I'm really going to sink, you know, as much time as possible into, collect everything, get the 100%. But yeah, it feels good to play.
I love kiosk demos. I just like have such a fond memory of trying to get my parents to take me to Toys R Us to go play Mario 64, and just being like, first of all, this kiosk looks so damn cool, and then getting my hands on an N64 controller for the first time, and having read the magazines, so knowing how to hold it right and things like that, and playing Mario, and just being like, man, this is a life-changing experience. So part of me is very nostalgic about the idea of maybe going out, because I haven't played Donkey Kong Bananza yet. Dan went out to the New York event. He had nothing but good things to say about it. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe if I get some time this weekend, I will try to track one of these down. I'll go out to a Target. I'll go to a Best Buy, or it's Target and Walmart, I think they said. I got 2 of those around my house. I live in the suburbs. I'll try to go make that happen. So, yeah, I'm excited from that front. But there's a chance they put out a demo for this game. I don't know. What do you think?
I think so. I mean, it only really like behooves them, right? Nothing like what bad could happen. Surely nothing ever bad has happened for a demo hitting a store. People have definitely not gotten access to the full game accidentally.
No, never.
No, I think it feels for some reason it feels unlikely to me, and I can't really put my finger on why. But I would like them to, because I think if people play 10 minutes of this thing, they understand it. It just makes sense, and it's like, oh, I could play a whole game of this. And so I think it only benefits the game, but I don't know, Nintendo's weird. It's almost impossible to ever figure out what they want to do. And so it could happen. I'd like it to.
After playing the game, how long did you spend with the game when you were playing it? Like it was 15?
15 minutes. I went back and tried to play it again. And they're like, yeah, you can play it again. And then I played 5 more minutes of it. And I'm like, actually, I don't need to keep doing this. I'm okay. I don't want to do the same exact thing I just did. But it's good.
So did you watch the direct for it?
I did.
So did your understanding of like what was going to be happening in the game like change from like when you played that 15 minutes to the direct? Did you like learn anything new? You'd be like, oh, I didn't realize that was also happening.
I think the biggest thing for me was just a lot of context, because the demo kind of threw you in that initial trailer, kind of just shows you like a broad overview of what this game is, but having context for like, oh, we're going deeper underground and all of these worlds are actually like on our way to the planet core. And the one thing that I didn't know until after I had played the demo, because I watched it in Treehouse and then this direct touches on it, is the idea of the different textures having different properties to them. So like throwing soft mud at a wall makes it stick, so you can use it as a platform or a bridge or stuff like that. And I would have loved to play around with that more in the 15 minutes that I had with it, because I think you could do some really interesting things. And then obviously we did not know about the Mario Paint style rock sculpture thing that I would have loved to play around with. If you would have given me a 15-minute demo of just that, I would have been happy.
Yeah, I'm almost surprised that wasn't one of the mouse demos that you guys got to play around with, because that's a fun thing. I like that a lot. All right, let's do this next one. Nexus Mods' new owners say that there won't be aggressive monetization. This is from Blair Marnell at GameSpot. Earlier this week, Robin Dark One Scott announced that he sold Nexus Mods to a new owner. And I guess people that might not know, Nexus Mods is like the primary mod depository for like a lot of Bethesda games. Like if you, I've modded the hell out of my Skyrim. I put 250 mods in there. Mm-hmm. Chances are the vast majority of those came from Nexus Mods, and then they support a ton of other games at this point. But I think it did start with like Morrowind back in the day. All right, yes. Ending his nearly 24 years as the leader of the site that he founded in 2001, Scott has indicated that he will remain with Nexus Mods in some capacity while guiding the overall direction of the site. The new owner, Chosen, has also spoken out to assure fans that the valuable resource won't be adding aggressive monetization, quote unquote, or suddenly place mods behind a paywall. Referred to by their Nexus Mods names in a statement from Scott, Folodino, Victor, and Rapsack, who is Marinus, and Tegan, who is Nikolai, are the 3 partners in Nexus Mods ownership under Chosen. This led to fears among players that they collectively plan to monetize the site and exploit the user base for short-term gains. In a post on Nexus Mods, Folodino told fans that mods will always be free. For the most part, Folodino's message was that the few things would change. He went on to say that Chosen doesn't claim ownership of any mods, nor will it charge users to download them. Nexus Mods has always had like a premium option, and that's like to be able to download things faster or to use certain features in their app that they've built, Vortex. And it's handy occasionally. I've subscribed to that in the past here and there, but you don't need to, and you've never needed to, and you can always download things manually, which is a preferred way in a lot of cases for me even. But I get the concern here. There's a tradition of Nexus Mods and just mods in general being this community supported thing, and the most of them are always going to be free. Even though there was a time, Jesse, and I'm trying to remember the game. It might have been a Bethesda game where someone was like, hey, we are going to start enabling modders to charge for mods. And there was a huge backlash to the point where it's like they stopped doing that. It was like squashed into the ground. And since then, a lot of other games have like found ways to start charging for mods. I've been playing Minecraft with my kids, and boy, do they charge for mods in that game.
A whole marketplace for that.
Exactly. So it's like, there's a new generation coming up where paying for mods is just the normal thing. But it doesn't sound like that will be a shift Nexus Mods will try to pull off. And I think I tend to believe this. It does sound like the original owner just got burnt out and wanted to step back and these other people are just going to take over to kind of keep things going. But who knows? I mean, the worst could happen. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't want to be cynical about this, but the cynical part of me is always like, this is how it starts, right? We won't do this, we won't monetize, and then slowly it happens and it starts to happen, and then the thing you've come to know and love doesn't exist in the form it used to. Anytime there's an ownership change or a change of hands, there's always something that changes. This case feels a little less like that. It feels a little less salesy and more, like you said, like just this person needed to step back and get out of there and brought some people on to facilitate this. But part of me does worry, and I think it's natural to worry about something like this because anytime ownership changes hands, anything can happen.
Yes.
So you never know. The enshittification of the internet continues forever. And so, yeah, something that people love and feel very passionate about and use daily could change. It could not change. Who knows? But I think it's only natural to feel wary.
Yep. It was Skyrim. People in chat are pointing out Skyrim had a store.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the big backlash. And I just
pretty brutal.
I'm like, man, if people do work and they want to get paid for it, I was just mostly of the opinion of like, sure, if they want to try to charge for something, it better be good and worth the money. But yeah, like I kind of felt like I'll pay for mods if I really, really, really want one. And I get then at the same time, I also get people who are like, I'll never pay for mods. But and then there's a huge contingent of people who like mods. That's not real video games, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But I understood where that stuff was coming from of a modder being like, hey, I would like to get reimbursed for all this work I'm putting in here. But it just at a certain point, it became clear that is not the culture of that space, and there is too much history of people being like, I will do a ton of work, and I am going to give this away. And then I'll go get a job because I learned a ton of stuff doing mods, and people sort of wanted to keep that tradition going, and it is like that is still the primary way that people approach making mods for video games today. Yeah. And I hope Nexus Mods doesn't sort of throw a wrench into that. We'll see. And I feel slightly assured here, but I don't feel fully assured, as you're saying. Anything could happen now.
Yeah, and if Nexus Mods were to get like, aggressively monetized or whatever, a new website will pop up in its place. Somebody will leave and go make a new thing, and then that'll be built up. And that's how you get new grassroots websites and organizations and stuff like that. Is people leave we see it in game development all the time. People leave company because they get frustrated with the way the company is going. They go build their own thing. And it sucks for a lot of reasons, but I think the mods will be okay, I think the mods will persevere.
I hope so. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, plenty of more headlines to talk about, including how Kojima will be involved in his movie for Death Stranding 2 right after this. If you don't want to see this, go to giantbomb.com/join. You get the ad-free version of the show. We'll be right back. This episode of Giant Bomb is brought to you by giantbomb.com/join. Join us there, become a member. It helps us make fun stuff. It gets you ad-free content. It also helps us make some extras here and there that we'll give exclusively to you as members. It's giantbomb.com/join for $10 a month or $100 a year where you save $20. You can support us in making all the cool stuff that we make over here at Giant Bomb. Once again, that's giantbomb.com/join. Become a member now. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Game Mess Mornings. Jeff Grubb. That's Jesse Vitelli. Let's get back into the news. Hideo Kojima won't have too much input into the Death Stranding movie. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. In an age where a Minecraft movie and the Super Mario Brothers movie can dominate the box office, of course, studios are looking to cash in on big video game adaptations. And of course, the third one after those two would be Death Stranding. Not all of them are wacky features intended for children and family audiences, though, as A24 seems to be making some more mature video game adaptations, including Elden Ring the Elden Ring movie with Alex Garland, who apparently loves that game, and the Death Stranding movie. Speaking with Variety, father of Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima, spoke about how involved he would be in the filmmaking process. He said, "I think I will help produce it. I need to kind of guide the project, but I can't direct it myself. Schedule-wise, I made Death Stranding as a game, so in order to turn it into a movie, it'll be something totally different. But it's my baby, so I would like to overlook the project. I'm teaming up with A24 and Michael Sarnowski. Yeah, Sarnowski. So he will be writing and directing. I'll let them work on it without too much of my input because that might get in their way. I don't want to go in and ask them to make a bunch of changes. That's not cool. I have to trust these people, and I trust A24 and Michael. Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds about right. I always remember stories about Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, where George Lucas wasn't a director, but he was always on set, and he was like everyone was looking to him, and that was definitely the idea. Those were directors for hire, kind of like doing that job because directing Star Wars almost killed George Lucas. So he's like, yeah, everyone was kind of going to George for answers. That's not the way most things should happen, even if you're adapting a product for someone else. Like George R.R. Martin helped write some of the episodes for Game of Thrones, but he didn't have that much say in the overarching way that the show would work. The people who were hired to do that did that job. So that sounds right to me. Do you believe Kojima that he this is what he wants for this game and he's happy being hands off?
I believe that's what he wants, but I also believe that man can't help himself.
Yeah.
He loves he's the guy who tweets out his editing timelines for the trailers for the games that he edits. And I can't wait for him to tweet out the timeline edit of this movie. That's it's you have to have an ultra wide monitor to see the entire timeline. That I do believe him when he says he's not gonna meddle. He'll be there and he wants to overlook it. But I do think there's part of me that's he wants to make a movie. So, he wants to make movies so bad. He loves film, right? He's gonna be there. It's that passion in all of us, that thing that we can't help ourselves sometimes, of just wanting to be in the room doing the thing, even if it doesn't make sense for our schedule or it's extra time that we should be relaxing or doing something else. He's turning his baby into a movie. He's gonna want to be there. He's gonna want to be involved in that process. And I think it's easy to say now, I'm gonna stay back this time. I'm gonna chill. And then it's another thing entirely when the project starts and you start seeing it come together and everything. I don't think he's gonna, be making crazy edits or changes, but I think he'll be more involved than he thinks he's gonna be.
Yeah, I think it's one of two things. It's either this thing never gets made, or he's kind of in that Miyamoto position that Miyamoto has been for the Mario movie and now the Zelda movie and the theme parks, where it's no, he's the executive producer that does have boots on the ground and is providing some insights and maybe has an answer to a question that the actual filmmakers have about how this stuff should work. And then we get the final product, and it still feels very made by Hollywood. Very it feels very just made by a team that is adapting something. But you could kind of tell that Miyamoto got his shit in, and I think the same thing will be true here. And to me, that seems like a pretty decent way to make a video game adaptation. It's not. I mean, I thought that Mario movie was really mid. It was 3 out of 5 at best. But whatever, it obviously worked for them. And I think that, with A24 and with Michael Sarnowski, I think you have a chance of doing something a little bit better. But I don't know. I guess the other question, Death Stranding, how adaptable is that into a film? Because I never cared to understand the story. Are you someone who's really grasped that and understand how it could be a movie?
I feel like in 2019, I had a pretty good understanding of the story of Death Stranding. In 2025, less so. However, that being said, Death Stranding, I think there are parts of that game that make for a good adaptation. I guess it depends on what they focus on. Are they doing beat for beat the game? Are they picking a part of that world and expanding upon it? There's so many things you could do with such. Because in a lot of ways, Death Stranding is kind of a blank canvas. You can kind of pick a place and just figure out what you want to do. Do you want to go like a 10 Cloverfield Lane style where you're just kind of following one person in a bunker who can't leave? Are you doing the Norman Reedus story? I don't know. I haven't looked too much into what has been said about this game. That being said, do we think that any character in that movie shouts chicken jockey to get the kids involved?
Oh, I think all the characters, they just take turns just coming, staring right at the screen and yelling chicken jockey. I mean, that's the way you make a movie successful these days.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I want whatever actor, if it's Norman Reedus or somebody else, to look at the camera and say chicken jockey.
Jesse, when we do our Discord activities, UPF, I also do want a public, because you did this for me in LA, but a public rundown of Italian brain rot, which I know chicken jockey's not that, but my kids yell chicken jockey and they yell a lot of brain rot at me. And so I want to like go over everything and just let's educate the people.
We could do the brain rot hour. Because I think the Discord activities fit into that. So we can do the brain rot education session.
Yeah. With the whiteboard thing, we could throw a bunch of things on there. Okay. Yep. The Italian brain rot whiteboard hour. Hell yeah. Was it tuk? Is that the other one?
Tongue
Shawar. Yeah, I don't know. It's a freaky looking guy. Here's why HDR might look worse on your Switch 2. This is from Haley Williams at GameSpot. The Switch 2 is Nintendo's first console to support HDR. The implementation of the feature leaves much to be desired. Here is a look at why games on the Switch 2 can wind up looking worse in HDR and what to do to fix it. YouTuber HDTV Test, who is fantastic, has done a deep dive into the Switch 2's HDR capabilities and settings to discover why HDR is leaving so many players' games looking washed out. He identified a number of issues. He identified a number of issues with the way Nintendo has implemented its HDR, mostly coming down to confusing UI and a lack of clear instruction, which is always a problem with HDR. HDR implementation with that stuff is the worst. The first issues come from the setting menu that prompts you to calibrate HDR for a new display. In a familiar screen showing two identical icons, players are asked to adjust a setting until one disappears and the other stays visible, which will set the maximum tone map luminance, or max TML. HDTV Test has discovered that this setting only works as designed for displays that support HGIG tone mapping, with results on non-HGIG supported device prone to blowing out. The way this setting has been implemented is also not ideal. HDTV Test points out with too many minor increments to choose from. Because the difference between each step is so minor, it leaves players without a clear choice of which of 100 of brightness steps is the right one for their display. So it's like you press up like 15 times and it barely changes. So people feel like it's not actually responding. HDTV Test also picks up on somewhat tricky to find paper white setting in the next stage of configuration, which requires players to press an extra button to adjust. This wouldn't be as much of an issue if the default configuration wasn't set way too high, which can leave images looking flat. I had a huge issue getting this set up when we were in the Airbnb in LA on that TV. It just looked terrible. I just had to turn HDR completely off in every setting I could find. I got home, I had a little bit of a better scenario there, but it still did occasionally look a little bit too blown out. And going into that like extra step in there to like adjust things from that point did help quite a bit. Basically, though, this is one of the many things that just feels like, oh, this is a new console, and they kind of like didn't do enough testing on some of these things with real world settings to see what would happen. It's this. There's like some problems with like Street Fighter 6, like trying to output it to 120 frames per second when the game doesn't run that way, and so it's kind of doubling frames in a weird way. There's a lot of like small issues that happen when a console launches that will probably get fixed in firmware updates here relatively soon. The battery percentage thing as well, where it's like the battery percentage goes down way faster than the battery is actually depleting. All this sounds like in that territory. But yeah, have you had much like what's been your worst experience with the Switch 2 when it comes to this kind of stuff?
So I only docked my Switch for the first time like 2 days ago. I've been primarily playing handled, which is like very rare for me. I mainly just like didn't want to set up the dock. I was just too lazy. And I plugged it in and it seemed off. And I couldn't exactly figure out what the problem was. It now sounds like it might be this.
Yeah.
And so I have to go figure out what HDR is and figure that out. I know what HDR is, but it's one of those things of this is my least favorite part of any piece of technology is trying to figure out what looks right versus what I think looks good.
Yeah.
Because I could play something that's like so highly oversaturated and I'm like, this looks great. Oh my God, look at all these colors. And then someone comes over and is like, what is wrong with you? What did you do to this?
Yeah. Why are you like this?
Specific thing. Yeah, well, they ask me that regardless of if my Switch 2 is on the TV or not.
That's fair.
So yeah, this is my least favorite part of a new console and plugging it into different TVs or monitors around my house and having to figure out what setting works best. And it might just have me undock my Switch entirely and never plug it into a TV again, honestly.
Yeah, I mean you're right. That's the worst part. It's like when I try to set up HDR, it makes me feel stupid. It makes me feel like I don't know what right is supposed to be here. And I don't know. This looks fine, and I turn it up and go down a bunch of notches. It's like I guess this also looks fine. It's brighter. Is that good? I just don't like. Hey, dial it in so it looks right. And it's like I have no idea what I should be doing. Should I be holding up a white piece of paper next to this? Is this what you want me to do? It doesn't say that in the instructions. I don't know. It's a little bit odd. And the fact that like the Switch 2 implementation is actually even slightly worse than a lot of other HDR implementations.
Yeah.
Not surprising to me. Nintendo will have to work out the kinks there if they do, or maybe they'll just like leave us to figure it out on our own. Either way, though, it's like again part of a bucket of problems that like I think will get sorted out over time. But this is definitely growing pains for a new console. And as far as growing pains go, I think Switch 2 doesn't have too many they're not too glaring overall, other than the glaring brightness of HDR.
Yeah, I haven't had too many issues with my Switch. Like I feel like it did what I wanted it to do. It booted up and played Mario Kart, and I didn't really think twice about it after that.
Yep. But don't put this cartridge in your Nintendo Switch 2 or it'll be banned from online. This is from Blair Marnell at GameSpot. The Switch 2 hasn't even been out a month yet, but Nintendo is already taking strong measures to make sure pirates can't use the company's new console. Switch 2 owners are sharing stories online that their systems have been banned after using a third-party cartridge that some players have reportedly used for illegal ROMs. Reportedly. As reported by The Verge, Nintendo has been targeting systems that have used a MIG Switch cartridge, which can store ROMs that were either illicitly obtained or downloaded from players' personal libraries. Nintendo doesn't appear to have drawn a distinction about how the ROMs ended up in the player's hands. So, like, I think technically you're allowed to have backups of your own games.
Yeah.
Although we all know the MIG Switch and things like this, the R4 back on the DS, were just used for people to get games for free and play on there. Like, well, let's be real. We know that's what's happening there. But, legally, maybe Nintendo would be in trouble here if someone like tried to sue them and say, hey, I was playing my backed up games and you stopped me here. Nintendo doesn't seem to care. And I bet they have the lawyers that would kind of get them out of any of those situations. So again, they don't care. This is one of the things people were like worried about. Like, oh yeah, they could just turn your Switch 2 off or block you from online. And this is something that's been happening for a long time. I remember Xbox 360 was a very popular console to hack. Mm-hmm. And my friend had a hacked Xbox 360. He was playing Call of Duty one time, and it was a burnt DVD version of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And it just stopped working, and he could not take it online anymore. And that Xbox 360 was marked as like, this won't work online. You can sign in with another account, whatever. It doesn't matter. The serial number has been banned. And so even if you tried to sell it, it's like you'd either have to pull one on someone, or they would ask, hey, can I see it work online? And you'd be like, well, it doesn't actually work online. I'm kind of like of two minds of this as well, where it's like, I get it where Nintendo's coming from. Just like, hey, let's come down with the hammer. I think they are really worried about what happened with the Switch 1 and piracy there near the end. And they don't want that to sort of pick up where it left off. They understand it'll happen eventually, Jesse, but I think they're trying to like prolong it as long as possible. Do you think that this helps them do that?
I mean, it helps them a little bit, but if I've learned anything about people who do these things, they're always going to figure it out. And the more elaborate you make the solution, it doesn't change the end result. They're always going to figure this out. This is coming from somebody who used to have like 15 J-tagged Xbox 360s in their house growing up. Like, it's never as difficult as like whether it's Nintendo or Microsoft like think it's going to be for these people. They're going to find a way to do it, and then they're going to find a way to make that process incredibly simple over time. Sure, maybe you get a year out of them, 6 months out of them before they figure out how to do all of this and get around it. But like at a certain point, what's the point? I get you got to protect your brand to the best of your ability. You've got to protect your console, but it's like it's two different markets that are not like they're not competing with each other. It's like the people who are going to do what they're going to do are going to do that regardless, whether you make it difficult for them or not. And the people that are going to buy 1 million copies of Animal Crossing are going to buy 1 million copies of Animal Crossing. Like they're not cutting into sales the way you think they're cutting into sales.
Yeah, not to that degree for sure. I'm sure there's a point where it's like it flips over and it becomes so easy that it becomes the default, and people are just like, well, why would I pay for games?
You ban them from online then, and that's what you do. You don't brick their Switch or do any of the more aggressive things. You're like, oh, you can't play online. You're playing with a copy that is illegal.
And I think that's actually, the people that want to play online actually are a pretty large audience. They're a larger audience on a lot of other platforms. I'm sure still pretty large on Nintendo platforms. But yeah, I just think they're like trying to like run interference so it doesn't become as easy as like, 3ds.hacks.guide. Like that's like a thing that people have memorized. They just throw it out there like, you should hack your 3DS, and you should. It's fantastic. It's a really great way to like have a 3DS now, especially because they don't have an eShop anymore. Well, there's ways to get around that. And it's it's a deprecated platform. So yeah, 3ds.hacks.guide. They don't want the Switch2.hacks.guide thing to be out there tomorrow. They want it to be out there in like four-ish years before it's like really refined the way that the 3DS one is. And yeah, I get it. I think that's a big reason why they took their time with the Switch 2 is to make sure that they had these things all lined up, the anti-piracy elements. And we'll see. But you're right, though. They always find a way, and they're gonna have to deal with it. But you're right. Just ban the online, and I think that's a good solution here. All right, Rematch. Yes, Rematch scores nearly 100,000 concurrent players in its first day on Steam. This is from Alex Hoppy on Games Radar. But that's the story is the headline there. This is a new game.
Yeah,
it's on Game Pass. So I guess that's the other side of it. It's 100,000 on Steam, despite also being available on Game Pass. I have been playing this game. I think it's pretty good, although I do find myself thinking, would I rather be playing Rocket League? And I think that's just where I'm at. Not that I'm not enjoying Rematch, I am, but it's like there's something simple. It's the limitations. You're a car, you can only do so much. You can't do a rainbow kick, and if you can, it's because you got really good at the very limited moveset that you have here. You go fast, you run, you jump, you boost. Here it's like, well, do you want to press LB and the pass button so you do like a lob pass or all that stuff? And that's quite a bit. It's a bit more. So maybe I'm just in that learning curve where it's like, I don't feel as capable in this game as I do in something like Rocket League. I'll tell you what I do like about it. Playing goalie. Playing goalie in Rocket League is kind of like almost a waste of resources. You want to be rotating frequently, playing light defense, but the best defense in Rocket League is a good attack. Here it's like, man, playing goalie is fun. Trying to respond to the kicks and stuff like that. I was enjoying that. But yeah, I'm not surprised this game is doing very well. It feels like it really fills a niche for sports games that have just been missing for a long time, which is like a more arcadey, more multiplayer focused one than the FIFA Sims or the FIFA Ultimate Teams. Have you spent any time with Rematch?
I have not played it myself yet, but my roommate's been playing it, and so I've been watching him for the last day and a half get really frustrated as he plays this game, rightfully so. But it makes a lot of sense, right? It's the Sifu and Absolver devs. Like, of course, the game is going to have some sort of pretty steep learning curve at first, but I think that's where this game is really going to shine, and that's what I'm excited about. And I want to hop into it this weekend when I have some time. But I think that unlike Rocket League, I don't want to say that Rocket League doesn't have tech, because I've watched a lot of high tier Rocket League and there's some really incredible stuff that goes on. But I think what Rematch is going to eventually evolve into is going to be really fascinating to watch, because I think you're going to watch a bunch of people who are really good at a fighting game compete in a soccer match. You know what I mean? And that's going to be really fascinating to see. And just the brief bits that I've watched with my roommate, has me excited to play. I seem to I think the 3v3 mode looks a little bit better than the 5v5 mode. That seems a little much for me.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see how this game shakes out over time. Because obviously Rocket League's been around for a decade at this point. And I'm surprised we didn't have more games in that vein.
Yeah.
Because Rocket League is obviously aping from football or soccer. And now we just have that. And there are some people being like, oh, it's Rocket League without the car. And I'm like, I can't tell if you're trolling me or not. That's just football, man.
Yeah, but I kind of get the idea there, where it's like, because Rematch definitely looks and presents like Rocket League, and sort of has the same language of design, and it's like, yeah, you're right. Why didn't we get several more of these? And I think soccer continues to be the one that really does fit with this style very well. Being able to track a ball. And the ball is not always connected to another person. I think you could do this with basketball. I think it would be much more challenging. There's There's the hockey one, that first-person hockey game we played a while back.
Oh.
That's not exactly the same thing, but it's like that was also very challenging. That's one was more like co-op because you had exact control over your stick and stuff like that. It's very challenging. But it's like, yeah, even that would be a little bit more difficult. But yeah, I would like to see more sports games try this. And even like it's an arena fighter, like you said. Like, it's an arena fighter, but for sports. And I just think that's a good idea and it's a good fit. And I'm glad we're getting these two variations on it at least.
Yeah, it's very tactile.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Rumor and screens appear stating that Crash Team Racing is getting a big update. A new rumor is doing the rounds. The team at Microsoft and Activision is preparing a big new Crash Team Racing update for the current generation of consoles. It is titled Crash Team. Excuse me, sneezed. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled Grand Prix Edition. So CTRNFGPE. That's going to be, that's how I'm going to refer to it.
Just tacking on
just more
words.
Yeah.
You're making a whole sentence at this point.
What's the craziest one to you? Because I got mine in my head. Do you have one that comes to mind? Because
I like
have to look it up.
Bowser's Inside Story plus, or Baby Bowser Jr.'s whatever that game is. Bowser's Inside Journey plus Bowser Jr.'s something Journey? Anytime they put a plus sign in the title, you've really got me hooked.
This is the official title for a game that will be updated, and it will be referred to this for the Switch 2. Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV. That's the full name of the game.
This is what I'm saying. Anytime you put a plus sign, plus Jamboree TV, there's longest video game title.
Meanwhile, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled Grand Prix Edition is the source and blah blah blah. The only interesting thing is that Microsoft and Activision provided updated sales numbers for Crash Team Racing completely out of the blue the other day. Fingers crossed that this particular rumor is legitimate, but as always, stay tuned. Here's how it goes. I work for a small studio under Activision and Microsoft. We were assigned this project months ago. I made a Reddit account while using a VPN just to cover my ass. I probably shouldn't be sharing this information given the NDA I had to sign, but here goes nothing. I have attached a few pictures I took with some of the things I'm talking about. It'll be coming to PC in early 2026. It's weird it never came to PC in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it will be on Steam, but it will 100% be available on Xbox Game Pass for PC users. A few new characters have been added as a thank you to fans. The original Beanox team has absolutely no hands on what we did with this re-release. We did not tweak gameplay other than adding a reserve meter. They were nice enough to give us their notes and information about the code, and that was all the contact we had. There is one new track, and it will be released with a Grand Prix along with the new characters to unlock just the same as it was when the game was first released. I'm not sure if there's plans for more than one Grand Prix at this time. It will get a proper release on PS5, Xbox Series X, and Switch 2 for $40. It will not just be a port. The game will be fully cross-play. So there you go. Crash Team Racing is a good kart racer. I've always liked it. One of my first dates ever was in my friend's basement, and the girl came over. She wanted to play Mario Kart, and all we had was Crash Team Racing. And you know what, Jesse? It did the trick. It got the job done. So
you hear that? Crash Team Racing does the trick.
It does the trick, and it's got a place in my heart for that forever. I'm at a point where it's like, why don't they do more with this? So does this sound right to you?
I mean, it sounds a little weird to revisit it now, but like, sure, yeah, why not? I guess it's never too late to revisit a game that people like. I mean, it came back after a very long absence when they made Nitro Fueled or whatever. So yeah, bring it back. I do have one note though. If you're gonna share something online secretly, don't acknowledge that you signed an NDA. Never say that publicly.
Mm-hmm. Just
bad practice.
In fact, lie and say you didn't. So they don't go look at all the names of everyone who signed an NDA and begin to reverse engineer what happened here. So I honestly, Jesse, that's the one thing that makes me think, is this not true? But it's like, man, I guess people have a million reasons to lie about anything.
It's such a low stakes thing for me. Like, if it's real, cool, I'm excited.
Right.
If it's not real,
so what?
Okay.
It doesn't change my life at all.
Which is what makes me believe it is kind of real, because it's like, what a weird thing for you to lie about. But I guess people have lied about weirder things.
Exactly. So I'm right there with you on that. Let's operate under the assumption that it's real, though. I think that is what probably happened is Microsoft, like while it's working with all these other companies that it's acquired, it's like, okay, we have some games that did pretty well, that sold really well under Activision, and then they were like, well, we don't care about that. We want everyone to go work on Call of Duty. So now that we own you, let's reassess. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, best-selling Tony Hawk game ever. Why don't we do another one of those? Crash Team Racing, that game sold really well. Do we have the capacity to make another one of those? It's like, well, not right now, but this game never came out to PC. Why don't we just kind of do a little extra work and get that up there, and then we'll do something with Crash Team Racing again in the future? To me, that sounds like exactly what happened here. I mean, hopefully that means they're doing that with a bunch of other games as well. But those two especially did succeed, and it's like, why not just do something with them? So I think this is in the same vein as a 3+4 for Tony Hawk.
Diversify that portfolio.
Yeah.
Add some more stuff to it.
Throw that shit in Game Pass. You still care about that, right? I think. I don't know. Who knows anymore? But
people care. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. Crash Team Rumble was a huge hit, says Rich Bada Games. Right? Nah, not that one. But Crash Team Racing, though, go play that.
I do have the longest title of a video game ever, according to the Guinness Book
that's
of
right.
World Records.
I was distracted while you looked that up. Okay, Jesse Vitelli, please present the Game Mess Mornings audience with the longest video game title.
According to the Guinness Book of World Records from 2011, the longest title for a video game in English is Cthulhu Saves the World Super Hyper Enhanced Championship Edition Alpha Diamond DX plus Alpha Fez HD Premium Enhanced Game of the Year Collector's Edition (parentheses without Avatar).
Hell yeah. What is that for? Do we know? Never mind. It's got to be either a mobile game or
it's
a PC
It's a 2010 game.
Okay. I bet an iOS game or some shit like
whatever
that.
Whatever Cthulhu Saves the World is on, that's the longest title. There's some version of it that has 52 syllables.
All right. Well, let's get to the poll question, which I did get eventually posted this morning. This one does come from yesterday's show. Let's see. Let me refresh. Did you buy any non-Nintendo / third-party games for your Switch 2? I got the results here. 26% said yes. 27% said no. And 46% said I don't have a Switch 2. So about 50% of people who have a Switch 2, according to these results, did buy a third-party game for their Switch 2. And
I'll say it, you should probably have to see Seaman at some point.
Oh my god, these fake gamers don't know Cthulhu Saves the World. Lol.
It's an RPG Maker game.
It sounds familiar, but I mean, if it's for nerds, then of course I don't know about it.
Is he just sitting here waiting to find a reason to hop in this call?
Yeah, he clearly just set that as his entrance theme.
You should probably have to see
and he just wants to keep doing it.
Yeah, had follow-up questions. Yeah, it was like RPG Maker. Then those guys helped make episode 3 and 4 of those Penny Arcade RPG games.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
those guys. Yeah. Goodbye. I love you.
Love you too.
Love you too.
Is that a cop?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely got cop in his blood. His grandpa was a cop and killed a dog or something. I don't know.
Said he didn't like your shirt, so.
Yeah, he said it. He really, I think you got him. All right. We got a new poll question. We'll get to that here in a second. Before we do that, Jesse Vitelli, why don't you tell us where we can find you on the internet, what you have going on, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so you can find me on Blue Sky at mamavitelli.bsky.social. If you Google my name pretty much anywhere, I think I have the best SEO of any Jesse Vitelli on the internet. You will likely find me somewhere. I mainly use
I need your tips to help me out with my SEO for Jeff Grubb, because I keep getting mixed up with the old man.
You have to just get rid of them. That's the only way.
Shit. All right.
I had to get rid of all the other Jesse Vitellis on the internet. But yeah, you can find me mainly on Blue Sky and Instagram. That's kind of where I chill. I have a newsletter called Send News, which is just kind of about my life, just things that happen, some weird random internet bullshit that I find. So if you are like Jeff Grubb and want to learn about Italian brain rot, you could go to my newsletter, and maybe 1 week it'll be about Italian brain rot. Who's to say? I haven't posted in 2 weeks. Don't hold that against me. You can also find me doing stuff over at restart.run, doing a lot of their social stuff and writing over there. I might have some stuff going up next week over there. So if you want to check that out, that's always cool. You can find that at restart.run on Blue Sky, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We do a lot of good TikToks. If you're looking for some good short form video, go over there. That's basically it. That's me. Hello.
Fantastic. Jesse, say the name of the newsletter again.
Send News.
If
you go to my Blue Sky account, it's pinned to my profile if you want to sign up for that.
There you go. People always say their newsletter and then they describe it afterwards, and then by the time they get to the end, I forget what it is, so I always ask for them to repeat it. So yeah, go to the Blue Sky account, everybody, if you find it there. All right, new poll question. When do you think Metroid Prime 4 is out? now, summer, fall, or holiday. Those are the options I'm giving you. Those sound right. I mean, what's the point of like just picking a month at this point? Because we have no idea. But now, summer, fall, holiday. I think everyone kind of has an idea of what those mean. We will put that up on Giant Bomb's YouTube channel. There's a little post thing. I think they don't call it community anymore. It's called posts. Click that, find it there, vote. We'll get the results. We will talk about it on Game Mess Mornings here on Giant Bomb next week. Yes, I'm still here next week. I'm taking some time off in early July around the 4th, everybody. But next week I'm here. And I probably should be here for most of the week after that, actually. And we'll get, because the 4th is a Friday. So yeah, no worries yet. In the meantime, though, as we get the results and talk about it on Game Mess Mornings here on Giant Bomb, as far as Giant Bomb goes, we will, let's see here, we're going to have UPF, where we're going to play some Firebreak. And then if that, like, doesn't do anything for us and we get bored, we have some other ideas in mind. We'll probably hop around and play some other things. And then, you know, we do have some time between now and then. We have some housekeeping to take care of, but I might throw something up on the site. There's a couple things I've been meaning to play. So we'll see. It's going to be a chill Friday. Thanks, everybody, though, for hanging out. Jesse Vitelli, thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it, dude.
Thank you so much for having me. I always love hanging out, talking about video games.
Yep, love seeing you, dude. Love everyone coming in, tuning in to hang out with me and Jesse. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Yummy like a gummy bear.